goodness, they do. They actually do make like bugs and different things, and like, oh,
Yeah,
and then the rain. Don't let it rain. Don't let it rain. Like
man, and it's like
that's
it
like
bring
another
everything
like,
together, and it smells so fresh.
yes, yes. I swear, I love it. I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
we
I love
live
it. So
now. We
yes,
live,
I gotta
yeah.
have like a little crack in the window, just a little crack in the
Yep.
window.
I'm so glad I
Swear.
started crushing these graham crackers before
What?
we got started because I've been doing this for like 30 minutes, no lie. Like off and on with like other little stuff I was doing to get
What
some
says?
stuff ready. But yeah. And I would say like for this recipe, it's probably like the most time consuming part like of you actually doing stuff. It's grinding up the graham crackers, but it's cool,
Uh huh.
making your own graham cracker crust. Self sufficient
Yes. Yep.
type
I
of
have
stuff.
everything but the sour cream, and I'm gonna get that
Well,
and
you can
make
replace
my
that with
own
yogurt.
my cheesecake on Monday.
Yeah, if you got any yogurt,
No,
you can
shut your
do
mouth.
that as well.
It's okay. Now that I know that, I like the idea of the yogurt. I'm good because we got to get yogurt for the
Mm-hmm.
cafe today. So I'm gonna get me some yogurt.
Yeah, because I
I
thought I
like
had some
that.
sour cream. It was expired. So I'm like, oh no. And then the other
Oh,
yogurt I
okay.
got is frozen. I was like, oh no. So I have literally this is the yogurt I have.
Uh
So it's just
huh.
it's a little because you only need a half a cup. So this
Ah,
okay, and I think
more than enough.
this is 6 ounces, so I won't even need this whole
Absolutely.
thing. But yeah, literally just a cup of yogurt.
Hmm.
It's a little bit flavored, but I doubt it's gonna make a difference once I add everything else in. And it's a lot of
Yeah, it should be because
cream
then you're gonna
cheese.
top
So
it, right? So what you topping it
you
like?
need this
Oh,
many
let me
boxes
Tyron
of cream
Joe.
cheese. This many,
I'm.
5 boxes cream
Ooh.
cheese. Okay, I got it sitting
You
on
need
the
that many? You need all of them?
yeah, all of it. You need all of this.
Okay.
And you need it
Okay.
soft. So I got it sitting on the oven right now because I got the oven preheating. And
Uh
so
huh.
I got those sitting over there to get to room temperature because it needs to be warm. It has to, everything, all the ingredients need to be warm. Your butter
Okay,
is
that's good to
melted.
know.
So
That's
I
good to know.
already melted my butter. I took, this is 6 tablespoons. So most sticks of butter is like 8 tablespoons.
Uh
So just cut off the 2 tablespoons, and I drop the stick in a little
huh.
measuring cup, microwave it for 30
Ooh.
seconds at a time until it completely. And so now it's separated into the cream and the oil. That's what that is. Because this is unsalted, so there's
Ooh.
no salt in this.
Okay.
So whatever salt I have in the recipe, I'm gonna have to add that separately. If you use salted butter, do not add salt.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense.
And I got my 4 eggs sitting over here on the stove too, because you need those warm as well. So everything
Okay.
that's going into the cheesecake part, you need warm to room temperature, not like cook it, or you don't actually have to heat it up. Just let it sit out for an hour or two. You don't want to let it sit out for longer than 2 hours, food safety rules. So
Right.
if you have to sit out for longer than 2 hours, I would say put it in a warmer area, like how I did on top of the stove or near heat sources, and then that'll kind of speed up the process without you having to leave it out so long.
Okay. 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 Peace.
I got 1 cup of graham crackers crushed up right now. I'm working on my second because it's you need well, I'm gonna do the 1 3/4 cup because I actually want a thicker crust on my cheesecake. If you don't want as thick of a crust, because I noticed I ended up putting the amounts for both of them on there. So if you don't want as thick of a crust, you'll use slightly fewer graham cracker crumbs. So I think it's like 1 1/4 of a cup, and then you'll use less butter, so like a tablespoon less of butter, and then like a tablespoon less of sugar for the crust, because the crust only uses butter, sugar, graham cracker crumbs. And finish this up. So now I'm going to dump my 1 cup in there, and then I can get to measuring for my next cup. And this is like, so this basically is one, don't leave. This is basically 1 1/4 of a cup. So that's how much you would need if you're just doing a regular, regular size graham cracker crust. It was one package of graham crackers. I didn't get the fancy ones. The recipe, the lady that I got the recipe from, she uses what's the name brand one? Whatever the name brand graham cracker thing is. I don't know, but I'll let you know how this tastes and turns out, because this is just the Aldi brand, 99 cents for this box. So not pressed about it. And that keeps the cost down. But if you have like a preference for your graham crackers, then by all means, you know, whatever floats your boat. Don't sink my ship. And I'm just gonna do three more. Three more should get me to my 3/4 of a cup. Since that one pack really did get most of it done. So that's a relief. And then I have my mortar and pestle here to grind it up. I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me slide it back some. There we go. I got y'all in between my coffee maker and my air fryer. All right. So I'm just grinding it up with my mortar and pestle. If you don't have one of these, like, this is super convenient and it makes this process a whole lot easier and faster. But if you don't have one, the back of a metal spoon and a plate or something hard and sturdy works just as good. Like I said, this is ergonomic, so it's a lot less strain on me to just use this. Shout out to my sister for letting me jack her for her mortar and pestle. Thanks, Kathy. And then when you, because I believe they do sell graham cracker crumbs. I haven't seen them because I haven't looked for them because I've never needed graham cracker crumbs for anything. But if they do sell them, you know, you can always just buy them pre-crushed if, you know, this is too time consuming, because this is the most time that I've spent on this recipe so far, is really just grinding up these graham cracker crumbs. Everything else is going to be quick. The mixing is quick because the key is to not over mix it. And then you also want to make sure that you get out all of the air bubbles and stuff in your cream cheese filling, because that's going to keep your cheesecake from cracking. So that part might take a little bit of extra time, but from what I was reading, from how she was explaining everything in the recipe, it's all the time that you put into it is going to be worth it, and it's going to save you the headache of needing to do a hot water bath and all of that, because I believe they said that the cracking and cheesecakes come from it drying out, and so you end up with all those like little cracks and stuff in it if it dries out, or it dries, or it cools too fast. So that's why I'm not going to be able to show y'all the finished result probably before tomorrow, because the cooking process, once you get it in the oven and you get it cooked and it's done, the cooling process takes a long time. Like, once it's done cooking in the oven, you have to leave it in the oven until the oven cools all the way off, and then you have to crack the oven door to finish letting it cool off some more, and then you have to let it sit out for a couple of hours before you even put it in the refrigerator. And that's how slow that cooling process is. And then you have to let it sit in the fridge for at least 6 hours, but I'm gonna leave it in there overnight, and then I'll take it out of the spring pan and probably cut a slice and put my toppings and stuff on it. So since I won't be able to show y'all the complete finished product, we'll definitely talk about some variations that you could possibly do with this recipe. And of course, my favorite, the toppings. And I went and got some whipped cream too. Here, Aldi. See? Aldi. Like, you don't have to overthink stuff, especially like if it's not like, great. And then this is light. So it has I believe they use like skim milk or something for it, or 2%. Yeah, they use skim milk in this. And there's, because it's skim milk, there's actually no protein in this. So this has like pretty much zero nutritional benefit. This is for flavor and pretty fullness only. If you use a whole milk whip topping, you might be able to sneak in a couple of grams of protein, but it also has a lot of fat and calories. So, you know, it's kind of like pick your poison. But this, I'll probably end up blending up some. I got some frozen fruit too. I'll blend up some frozen fruit and probably mix it in with a little bit of this to make like a creamy kind of fruit topping. Because, like I said, that whipped topping has zero, like pretty much no nutritional value. Like it's literally just for that light, fluffy cream, you know, cream. What's that whipped cream consistency? So it's texture and visual aid only. Okay, I think those are all crushed up. And then I have my measuring cup because I want to make sure that I know how much I use, even if I end up maybe using a little bit more, but I want to make sure it's the amount. So this was spot on. So I did one whole package and 3 graham crackers for the 1 3/4 of a cup. And so this is what it looks like, all, you know, crunched up. So I'm gonna put my mortar and pestle to the side. Chuck the graham crackers. She didn't want to come back inside. But it's definitely nap time. Back there. Yes, it's just another taste, not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, not a bad thing. Just like, you know, like if you're like on a diet, or you're like, you know, watching your calories or your fat intake or even your sugar intake, definitely watch what you're topping your foods with, because you could be adding empty calories. And so that only is like 20 calories per serving. I think the serving is like 2 tablespoons, which is probably more than what I would even top anything with. Do you think the off-brand could alter the taste? Not the graham crackers, no. Uh, I was just thinking about this earlier, but for the vanilla extract, if you're cooking, thanks. If you're cooking and you're using vanilla extract, don't use the imitation. I don't even know like what people would use imitation vanilla extract in, because it tastes terrible to me. Like it tastes horrible. You can taste it over everything in the food if you put like, so I don't use it. And if I get it by accident, I'm upset and I'm like, dang, I thought I had a deal and it was imitation. So get you the real stuff. If trust me, it's worth every dollar. It's like $3 or $4 for like a small, like you're only gonna get a few ounces. 2 ounces. This was like almost $3 or $4, but it's worth it. And you're not really going to use more than like not even like a half an ounce of anything at a time. So you can get a lot of uses out of this little tiny bottle. And trust me, it does wonders for the flavor to use the real stuff. And I had turned the oven off because it was getting hot. So I did have it preheated earlier. So I got the oven on 350. Make sure you have a rack in the middle of the oven, because it's going to allow everything to heat evenly. So now I'm going to get my sugar in there. So I'm just adding all of my dries in here first. And then I'll add the butter and mix everything together. So this is our little sugar jar. And these are scoops from my little shapes that I keep, because it's just easier to measure. Like we don't have like one of those multi-spoon size like measuring things. So I just use these and eyeball it, because these are in cc's, which is basically mils. But like I think like 10 cc's is about 1 tablespoon. Don't quote me on that. But I usually just ask Siri, and Siri will tell me. So we need 5 tablespoons of sugar. If you don't mind your crust not being sweet, you can leave the sugar out, because I know some people are diabetic, and so the sugar could, you know, cause issues. But if you're not diabetic, you know, add sugar. You can also use sugar alternatives. There's stevia. You know, you got the Splenda, the other NutraSweets, and all that stuff. So whatever type of sugar, the recipe, you know, was made from granulated sugar. So that's what I'm using to see, you know, what the base recipe, how that will turn out, and just go from there. So now my butter, and I need a mixing utensil, my spatula. move you back some more. Okay. Yeah, I realized why my camera kept like falling forward because Duda got a hold of my phone stand and loosened the little grip down there, and I didn't realize it was a whole separate grip for the forward and backward stabilizer. So yeah, you live, you learn. She helped me learn something new. Look at that. So we just add the butter in, and then we just gonna mix it. I'm gonna mix it. Go on and mix it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And then this will be fully mixed when all the dries are, you know, obviously not like quite dry anymore, and then it's going to be the consistency of wet sand. I don't know if you ever been on somebody's beach before, but for the most part, everybody knows the consistency of wet sand. So this looks almost oops. Turn it, make sure you get all of that from the bottom. Don't want no dry stuff hiding out nowhere. Okay, let me see. Oh, did I leave that over there? That is over there. I'm just pulling up the recipe on my iPad so I can make sure I'm not leaving nothing out. Because that's the one thing you don't want to do. You think you done, you missed the most important stuff. You're like, oh no, or do you end up with something that's not quite a cheesecake? So we're not doing that. All right. Yeah. And then we're gonna go to the pan. What's that butter in there? Okay, get that butter in the bowl. Put that over there. Okay, and I've already washed the pan. This is a brand new pan, so I just took the stuff out, put some soap in it, and wiped it around. Nothing too vigorous. Soapy water, hot soapy water is all you need. Okay. Now with this part, they said you could use the bottom of a measuring cup, but I don't foresee the measuring cup actually fitting to the edges like how I need it to. So I'm gonna just go ahead and use my spatula to shape it and flatten this out, pack it down, and then I'm probably gonna just go over it with the measuring cup around the middle parts and stuff of what I can reach to make sure it's packed down in there. But this does the 1 3/4 cup is a nice thick amount. It looks like it's about a 1/2 inch worth, and a 9, because this is a 9-inch cheesecake pan. So and that's what the recipe is for, is to fill a 9-inch. So this is a pretty big cheesecake. So if you're literally just making this for you, I would suggest finding friends, family, people that trust your cooking to come and get a slice, so you're not tempted to eat this whole thing like this by yourself. I'm actually probably gonna end up taking some pieces to the Kung Fu school to share, because this is gonna be a lot of cheesecake. Like a lot of cheese, and cheesecake is rich anyway, because you see how much cream cheese, you see all them boxes, you see all that cream cheese, that's a lot of cream cheese, and cream cheese is basically like all milk fat. So yeah, cheesecake is delicious, but it's a very, very rich dessert. So that's why it's good to moderate be moderate with it. Okay. So this, okay, yeah, that's packing it a lot more. Like I said, I'm just use it to kind of pack it more. So when I bake it, it's gonna pack together. Oh, so one potential variation here that I was thinking of when I was in the grocery store was instead of doing a graham cracker crust, you could absolutely do an Oreo cookie crust. And to do that, I would I'm gonna pop that in there, 7 minutes, and I'm actually gonna put the timer on my microwave here. So if you don't have a kitchen timer or a watch or whatever, if you have a microwave, you can put your timer on the microwave. So you just hit, usually it says kitchen timer, hit the kitchen timer, put in 7 minutes, and then start it. So that'll be when my 7 minutes is up and I can take my crust out. And then we're going to reduce the temperature to 325 to prep the oven for the cheesecake. And then while the oven is on and doing that, flip this. Make sure all the bites, because they're still kind of cold. Because I like literally just went to the store and bought them, and they keep them in the refrigerated section. So I got my cream cheese sitting on top of the oven while the oven is on, baking the crust to help warm up the cream cheese and the eggs and stuff. So, but as I was saying, so for the Oreo crust, you could definitely like pull the Oreo pieces apart, scrape out the the icing, and then crush those up. And then you can even add back in the icing for sweetness, so you can skip the sugar step if you want. But I would definitely say scrape the icing out first, because you don't want to end up using too much of the icing and then it messes up the consistency of the crust, or it ends up adding too much sugar. So I would say scrape out the icing and measure it, because that's pretty much your sugar. So if it equals out to 5 tablespoons, boom, you got your sugar. You don't even have to add sugar because you got the icing from the Oreos. Crunch the Oreo cookies up and then mix them in with your butter and the icing, and do your crust that way. So you have an Oreo crust. Vanilla wafers, you can do the same thing with them. Like pretty much anything that's sweet and crumbly, you can crunch it up. You could do a granola crust. Oh, that might be something to try. A granola cheesecake crust. What type of cheesecake would you put on that? Like cinnamon, a cinnamon apple cheesecake on granola. See, this this is how my mind works when I start thinking about food. I'm like, oh, how could I switch that up? What would I do with that? And then when you going and you go down that rabbit hole, it's some treasure down there. Okay, so if I make that, I'll definitely let y'all know. I might have to get a smaller pan to try that one, because that's definitely not a 9-inch cheesecake. I'm not doing a 9-inch for that one. While those are in the oven, this stuff kind of still needs to warm up. My eggs, I believe I have to beat separately. Yeah, so those are going to get beat separately. I'm going to just use the measuring cup from the butter. And then this should also help them warm up to room temperature more. Yeah, it seems like they're pretty warm now, but and then just take a fork for that. Oops, leaking egg juice everywhere. Wash your hands. All right. Okay, so now we're just gonna fork. And we're gonna beat the eggs separately, and then this, like, because you're gonna add the eggs in to the cream cheese mix slowly. So I'm just beating them. Something to do. Make sure it's done. We got 3 more minutes on the crust, and then I have my large bowl here for the mixings. And then, so you add in the sugar and sour cream. I don't have sour cream. I'm using yogurt. So I substituted the yogurt for the sour cream. Most recipes tend to do that. The sour cream is to add a little extra tang to it. So whatever, I guess whatever taste that you prefer. So if you prefer like not as tangy cheesecake, I would suggest substituting the cream cheese. I mean the sour cream for yogurt. So I just didn't have any sour cream. That's why I'm using yogurt, but I probably would have substituted yogurt anyway. All right, so I got my eggs beat, and then I'm going to start putting my cream cheese in this bowl to mix it. Because it seems like it's at least soft. It's still a little chilled, but I'm pretty sure with the mixing, it's going to end up warming it up some more.
Good job, back here. Back here.
But these are the nutrition facts on the cream cheese. So the cream cheese is also not like super nutritious, but it's not like extremely like full of calories and fats and things like that. It's got about 6 grams of saturated fat, which is like 30% of a daily value based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So I'll go over that in a little bit because I know people like look at nutrition labels and be like, what does any of this stuff mean? It doesn't mean anything to me. And I actually went live on my Instagram talking about fats, the differences between them, why they are essential and important to our diet. So living a fat-free life is not like normally recommended because I mean, for the most part, it's like almost impossible to. Like there's a very, 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 very small number of foods that actually don't have any type of fat in them. Even vegetables have some type of fat in them, and just regulating the type of fat. So saturated fat is actually the one that is, let me make sure I'm getting this right because trans fat is just bad in general. So if you can avoid the trans fats. Yes. Hey, who is this? Pupipas? Oh, I'm not even sure if I pronounced that correctly, but hey, thanks for joining us. Making cheesecake today. Okay, so that's the timer for my crust. I'm gonna take my crust out. And see, it actually has like a little air bubble under there, but like I'm not sure if you can see that. Like, but yeah. So and it smells really good. It smells tasty already. Ready. And we'll just sit that up there, let it cool off, and I'm gonna reduce the temperature to 325. I don't know, this bowl might not be big enough. I gotta get the big bowl. Ugh. I should have knew better. If you knew better, you do better. Trying to put all that cream cheese in that little bowl. Whew. That was gonna be a mess. She upset. She be upset like that sometimes. It's okay. It's okay, do. So that's what it is. Saturated fats are the bad fat. So that's why cheesecake is like something that's a treat that you don't really want to overdo. So the slices tend to be very, very small. Like when you go to the restaurant or something, they're usually giving like 2 or 3 servings worth of whatever it is you order. You get 2 or 3 servings worth of entree, 2 or 3 servings worth of dessert, and people will still complain about how small the serving sizes are, and then wonder why it's a struggle to lose weight or breathe or walk, or they got heart problems, or this, that, and the third. Like, well, if you sit and eat 2 or 3 servings worth of food at a time, I mean, I don't know what you expect the outcome to be. So I usually end up like pretty much always taking a doggy bag home, a to-go container for the rest of my food, and then it'll be like lunch for the next day or dinner, and then for the desserts, the same thing. Like I rarely eat all of my food in the restaurant because, like I said, they give you more than the actual serving size anyway because they know how people are. They know if you go and you're spending your money somewhere, you're gonna want more, more bang for your buck. But that don't mean you have to sit there and eat it all either. And so the what's this medlineplus.gov suggests that you limit your saturated fat intake to about 6% of your daily calories. So I'm trying to do the math in my head for this, but I'll probably have to like post it later, like how like the nutrition facts for like one slice of this. But you can pretty much Google uh some kind of basic nutrition facts for cheesecake, and it'll tell you the serving size and how many calories and fat per serving you're getting, just as an estimate. And usually, like the estimate tends to be pretty accurate. And you can make a much better and a better informed decision about how you're eating, what you're eating, and how much of something you're eating. And that's usually what I do. I just get like a ballpark figure and then be like, okay, so if I eat two pieces, I'm doing too much. Like if I'm eating two pieces, that's too much. Two pieces, too much. All right. That's usually a good rule of thumb. So I'm getting back to my sorry, recipe here. Okay, so now we're just gonna blend this down to the smooth and creamy, and then we're gonna add in the sugar and my little thing of yogurt back here. And I, like I said, I won't even need a whole cup of this because this is 1 cup, and I only need no, this is 6 ounces, which is not quite a cup. Um, and I only need a half a cup. So and okay, scrape size, mix briefly. All right, so this could very well be quick, and I don't think they, yeah. Because so you really want to kind of limit how much you mix the stuff because it adds a lot of air into it. And like I said, like the key to this is like getting the air out. So we're really just going to mix it until everything is just smooth and creamy and just mixed in. And then we're also going to bang it on the counter to pop the air bubbles out of it. So I'll show you when we get there. I'm about to mute because it's going to get loud with this blender. Okay, that might have been a little bit more than 30 seconds because I was struggling, but it is a very quick mix. And then honestly, I think mine was still a little cold. So the warmer you have the cream cheese, the easier it's going to be to mix it because it's pretty thick. It's cream cheese. And now I'm going to add, this is actually strawberry yogurt. Like I said, I'm not a stickler for stuff. Like, I don't really care. I don't even think this is gonna alter the flavor. I'll let y'all know if it does. Um, but it's yogurt. Same difference. And then I think this needs sugar too. What did I get with the sugar in that? See, now I got to find the recipe. I think I did. Oh, there we go. Is that? No, that's not who I got this from. But I do love Sally's Baking Addiction. Okay, this is it. Yeah. So, and plus, like, okay, so most of the baking recipes I get from Sally's Baking Addiction on, I think it's like a cooking blog. I love the way she writes out her recipes and she explains how to do stuff, especially like when you're using regular flour instead of baking flour. She tells you how to make your own baking flour. Those are two very different things. And also she explains how to measure your dry ingredients and stuff and tells you why it's important to do that and all that stuff. I love it. It's very informative and the recipes are usually really good. I'm just double checking to see how much sugar on, because I think I left out how much sugar was supposed to go in the cheesecake, and I only put the sugar for the crust. It's okay. We all make mistakes. Let me get to this. All right, there we go. Cream cheese filling. That's what the one. Okay, so the 1 1/4 cup on the recipe is actually for the sugar that goes in the cream cheese, but that's also the amount of graham cracker crumbs that would go if you don't do a larger crust like how I did. That's what happened. I mixed it up. My ladies used to eat up the whole cheesecake. Yeah, you up here holding out on cheesecake recipes, Ty. We could have been did that. We could have did Ty's cheesecake, but you want to hold out. So you see where we at now. So I'm gonna get my 1 1/4 cup of sugar going. Um, we use domino in these cards, right? So 1 cup. And then, like I said, you can always use sugar alternatives. Your stevia is a great alternative because it's sweeter, for one. Um, and you can probably use like less. And it's more of a natural source, depending on how it's processed and I guess what brand you buy. But I'm actually growing my own stevia, so hopefully one day soon, not soon, probably not till the end of the year. I know holding out on the Lord special. I know, right? But hopefully one day once my stevia grows up and be real big and strong, I'll have my own sweetness source and I can leave the granulated sugar behind because the processed sugar actually creates digestive issues and it actually kills gut bacteria. So the more you can limit it, and this counts as added sugar. So you want to keep your added sugar to about 26 grams, which is like 8 tablespoons. I want to say 8 tablespoons of sugar a day. So and that's for women. Men is like 32 grams. So added sugar, you want to try and limit that. But like sweet stuff, like stuff that like fruit that has sugar in it, that doesn't count. So that's why I tell you, if you want a sweet snack, eat some fruit. And plus they have fiber in it. So it tends to reduce how fast the sugar hits your system. So if you're diabetic, an apple is probably well, not probably, it definitely is a better option than drinking apple juice. And if you're diabetic, I'm pretty sure your doctor already told you that. So I'm about to mute again so I can finish mixing this in. I like how quick this mixes in though. Like, I don't think you understand like how surprised and happy I am that this is not like a lot of mixing. And so we're gonna scrape the sides and the bottom of the bowl to fold everything in and give it a little quick mix again just to make sure everything is incorporated and nice and evenly distributed. Cause see, I still got some yogurt on the side, and I think that was actually kind of helpful that it was flavored yogurt because it's a little bit pink, and so I can see where it's not quite mixed in, and then it's like some stuff on the bottom that doesn't have something, mixed in. It looks like it's full cream cheese that was like stuck to the bottom of the bowl. So that's why you scrape the bowl and the sides to make sure you're getting everything up in it. All right. So this is done. I'm gonna drop the whole. I thought it was gonna be good. Drop the whole thing in there. It's all right. And that's what the spatula for. Drop the whole thing. I was doing good too. It's all right. Don't make no mess. Don't make no mess. No mess. No mess on me. Oh, see, y'all was gonna let me leave my eggs out. It's cool. It's cool. Nah, but I told you that's why I keep the recipe on hand so I don't look up and be like, oh, I forgot stuff. Plus, when I looked over here by the sink and I saw my eggs sitting there, I was like, oh, I didn't put the eggs in. I gotta rinse that side of that arm off. Okay, there we go. What is this? Oh. All right. Ouch. So now we're gonna incorporate the eggs slowly. And my vanilla extract. So I got my eggs here waiting to go in, but I'm gonna add my vanilla extract. Hey Monique, how you doing? So it says two teaspoons. I'm usually good at eyeballing it. That's 2 teaspoons. Boom. And then we're gonna put this mix around low. This is so creamy. Whoa, look at that. Look at that. Whoa. Okay, we got the last of the egg going. Yeah, I made a big old mess with that the first time. Oops. All right, so move that out the way. This is what it looks like with the egg in there. It's all nice and creamy. So we're just gonna, and you see how those bubbles are popping up? That's what you want to do. You want to make sure all of them bubbles come on up. That's why my next investment, and see my phone about to die. I got to get my charger real quick. But my next investment is definitely going to be one of those nice KitchenAid stand mixers with the bowl that's right up on there, because then you don't end up with splatter and stuff everywhere. And it's much easier to make dough. Very light and I know, right? Like, but that's why you gotta, when you mix the egg in, that's why you have to mix it in on a low speed, because if you mix it in on too high of a speed, you'll end up with a lot of air bubbles, because the egg is gonna make it fluff up from the mixing anyway. Okay, that's good to hear, Monique. I saw y'all doing what was y'all doing? I think push-ups or squats now, push-ups for the challenge. Yeah, I saw you girls. Y'all my favorite workout team to watch. Getting hungry watching this masterpiece. I know, right? Okay. I don't see nothing else popping up. So now we're gonna add it in. The oven is set to 325 and it feels like it's cooled down to it as well. My crust is trying to pull away. But now let me get my spatula. I got cream cheese on my spatula. Let me get this up off of here. Let me get this off my spatula first. All right. And then I'm gonna go grab my my charger so I can talk to y'all for these last little 10 minutes. But I'm worrying about my phone cutting off. This seems like it's a lot of filling, and but it did say on the recipe that it's gonna be very light, very fluffy, and very, very, very full. So this is gonna like fill up to the rim and all of that. And so we're gonna scrape this on out. Okay. It smells really good too. It smells sweet, and I can kind of smell the strawberry yogurt that I put in there too. So I don't think it'll affect the overall flavor of the cheesecake, but I can definitely smell it. That yogurt. So if you do substitute your sour cream for yogurt, be mindful if you're using flavored yogurt. And a lot of times flavored yogurts tend to have fruit pieces and stuff in it also. So watch that as well. So don't be surprised if you come across a piece of fruit if you use fruit yogurt. But and so now we're just gonna smooth this on out to even it on out. And you can actually see some of the fruit pieces from the yogurt that I use, like still kind of in there, which is fine. It's fine. This is so fluffy. Like you can feel like the consistency of it and the pushback of it. And it's just, oh, it's so mad. Like I really am really excited about this cheesecake. I'm not sure if y'all understand. We tried, yeah. Hey, and if you try 100 times, guess what? You gonna succeed more than one of those times. So that's the problem, People so worried about failing that they won't try, but the people that's failing is the ones that's out here winning. Because guess what you get from failure? Experience. You know what not to do that time, or you know what else to do, something to add, more support that you might need, like getting your family involved in something that you're doing. Okay. All right, so there we go. Oh, yeah, I tasted the feeling. Yeah, yeah, we're doing this. Oh, we're doing this. Okay. So I'm gonna put this in the oven. Let me see how many minutes so I can set my timer. It says 30 to, oh no, that's the seconds to mix it for tapping the bowl. 30 minutes. So we're baking it for 30 minutes at 325. So I got my timer set. And then we're gonna pop this right in the middle. Right in the middle. Oh, that's looking so good. Okay, I'm gonna close that up. Start the timer. And great example of mastering singleness. I know, right? Okay. So that is all the steps I can show y'all as far as like, live action view for the cheesecake. But let's talk about these toppings. Right, I got to get my charger so my phone don't die on y'all. But these toppings. So I keep a bunch of frozen fruit like on deck because I make my shakes with it, smoothies on the like my teas and all that stuff, like my infused water. I just frozen fruit for everything. Okay. Because I tried the fresh fruit thing, but I realized I don't eat as much fruit as I think I do unless it's blended into something. Like I'm not just sitting somewhere eating fruit. I don't do that. Haven't done it in a minute. Probably ain't gonna start. But I still need to get my fruit in. So I make sure I keep some frozen fruit so I can add it into my blended beverages and stuff like that. So for your toppings, you can definitely just get you some fruit. You can, if you get canned fruit, frozen fruit, get you some fruit, okay? Cut it up into pieces. Cut it up into pieces and then just put it on top of your cheesecake. Take a chunk of your fruit and a slice in a little forkful of your cheesecake and eat them together. Boom, top it. Okay? Pick your favorite fruit, pick a new fruit, pick a pretty fruit, whatever fruit you want to put on it or on the side. And then boom, you turn something that's like very rich and really just there for, for wow factor and to taste good and, feel that happy space in your stomach, and you added nutrition to it. You can definitely top it with a sprig of mint. Mint leaves are very good for digestion. So like I said, the sugar in the cheesecake tends to kill your gut bacteria. So mint could definitely help with that whole digestion process. Mint on the side of your cheesecake. I don't eat fruit raw. I do eat fruit raw, just not it's not my go-to. Most of the fruit that I eat raw is blended into my shake. So I'm not just sitting there eating like I'm gonna eat an apple. Like, no. I'll probably do like grapefruit or oranges, something with my breakfast, and that's about it. But like other stuff, not for real. Sometimes I'll make like a little fruit medley in a jar and I'll put like my little protein powder or something in there with it. Um, that's that's about as close as I'm gonna get to eating uh, fruit, like just sitting and eating fruit. Another possible topping is, of course, you got all the syrups and stuff like that. I would definitely watch the serving size on those because those are super high in sugar and calories. The serving sizes tend to be for 2 tablespoons. I usually try and limit my servings to about 1 tablespoon. That way I know I'm not adding a ton of extra sugar or a ton of extra calories. But I still get the taste and the flavor. Usually it doesn't take a lot for me to get that taste or that flavor because I have a very sensitive palate, so I can taste if something else is in there. So that's a plus of taking the time to discipline yourself in your eating habits, because then a little bit goes a long way, especially when it comes to the stuff that's not so great for you. You can taste it right off the bat, like you can taste it immediately. Um, What else? Oh, I have this frozen coconut. So I got coconut. This is leftover from when I made my coconut salmon. Um, and all I did, I just took once I got it out of the coconut shell, I just threw them in a bag and froze it. So you can definitely just, and I like for this, I would leave it frozen and then just grate it. You can use the small side of your four-sided thing. That's really what that is. But that's like a zester. Um, so this thing super handy for toppings. Freeze them. That's why I love having frozen fruit, because for me they're easier to handle. And then I can use less ice in my shakes and smoothies and stuff, and it's not as watered down. So I just use the frozen fruit. But you can definitely grate it on the big side, or you can zest it. You can even put like slices. You see this, like you can get slices. That's how you get those little slices, but usually they curl up like that with the chocolates and stuff like that. So if you have chocolate bars, that's another topping. Dark chocolate, cocoa powder. Those are very healthy choices. Instead of like you think like chocolate is healthy. Dark chocolate with nothing else added into it is very, very healthy in moderation. Like 1 or 2 ounces of it is I believe is usually serving is like 1 ounce. And 1 ounce of dark chocolate has a ton of good properties in it. It's great for your immune system. It's great for your blood production. Um, and it was something else that it does. Don't quote me on that, but like your hair, skin and nails, it has stuff that helps with that too. um White chocolate is usually like a cocoa butter base, so they actually do have cocoa butter wafers, or if you have a cocoa butter block, you can literally just take some cocoa butter and shave it onto your cheesecake. Cocoa butter is a very good source of healthy fat. Okay, so you're eating your cheesecake full of unhealthy fat. Put some healthy fat on top of it. Okay, boop, there you go. You're welcome. Um, and sprinkle you a little bit of cocoa powder on top of your cocoa butter shavings, and you have a nice light. And this is especially good if you're eating a plain vanilla regular cheesecake. It keeps it very. It's a very plain and light flavor, but the nuances between I know, right, Monique? The nuances between the differences in those flavors, like cocoa butter has a very distinct flavor. It's very light, but it's distinct. Cocoa powder tends to be very overpowering, but if you just kind of just shake it just enough to powder it with it, it adds a really nice like after kind of chocolate, chocolatey flavor, and it blends well with the graham cracker buttery flavor and the cream cheese. And you can even like play around with the extracts. So this, I use vanilla extract. There's a ton of different flavoring extracts. You got lemon, orange, almond. I've been trying to find some almond extract because I made a bundt cake and it was delicious, but it needed some almond extract because that, man. And for the little icing that I put on top of it, almond extract would have really set it off. So I'm still trying to find me some almond extract. I'm desperate. Okay. So your extracts definitely changes up the flavor. You can add in fruit blend, so you can make your own like fruit syrup. So like you can take those frozen fruits, blend them down with the sugar that you would normally put in the cheesecake. So the cup and the 1 1/4 cup of sugar that I put into the cheesecake, you can put that in your fruit blend. I would say limit the fruit to like a cup, 3/4 to a cup. You won't need that much. And then blend it down with the sugar and use that as your sugar source. So now you're adding fruits, all the nutrients that the fruits have. Most of the fruits that people prefer are like berries, which tend to be really high in antioxidants. Your blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, super high in antioxidants. So you can add that into your cheesecake and you just add a nutritional value to something that's super rich and full of like, unhealthy fats. Um, so it won't be all bad and just tasty. Because not everything that's tasty is good for you. Not everything that's good for you is tasty. It's all right. But moderation is definitely key, because you can overdo it with the healthy stuff and still end up in an unhealthy situation. I'll bring y'all down so we can take a look, see what we are. I still got to plug now. I almost pulled the whole wall off trying to bend down with that cord in there. I don't know if y'all can see that in there. Trying to get, because I can't really open the oven because it could mess up the temperature, but it's looking mighty creamy. Looking pretty creamy there. So that's going to bake for 30 minutes. I got another 20 and some odd minutes to go. And then once it bakes for the 30 minutes, I'm going to turn it down to 250 and bake it for another 45 minutes. So this is why I can't, show y'all, because you see how long it's going to take. Y'all can hang out with me, but I think y'all got stuff to do. And then once it bakes at 250 for another 45 minutes, I'm just going to turn the oven completely off and let it sit for another 30 minutes. And then once it sits for 30 minutes, then I'm going to crack the oven door and let it sit for another hour in there. And then once that hour is up, I'm going to sit it on the counter, cover it with some plastic for 3 to 4 hours to finish cooling. Yes. And then once that's done, then I have to put it in the refrigerator for at least 6 hours. But I guarantee that's going to be an overnight situation, because 3 to 4 hours after 2 hours, so that's about 2 hours worth of time just with it playing around with the oven temperatures. So by the time I get this in the refrigerator, it's going to be like 9 o'clock tonight. Yeah. So that's why it's just going to be an overnight job. And, I'll get up in the morning and, admire it. I'll probably have cheesecake for breakfast. My brunch is tomorrow. Oh, I'm definitely having some cheesecake at brunch. Yeah, we just finished up a challenge. And our brunches, we always just eat like the most ridiculous stuff because we weren't eating it during the challenge. Because we got goals, okay? When you got goals, you go, okay? But you got to understand that there's rest stops. So you got to take a rest stop and, pig out for like a day, one day, okay? Don't overdo it, because you could set back a whole month worth of work doing it for a week. I'm telling you, I've done it before several times, okay? So I'm definitely going to have me some of this cheesecake at my brunch, and I'll probably do like an avocado egg or something, because I got some fresh avocados. Yeah, and I got a fig. I'll probably put some fig on the side of my cheesecake. Cut up some fig with some mint. Some mint. I'm excited. You don't understand how excited I am about all these toppings. And that's it. So next week, I did write down what I wanted to do for y'all next week. What are we? Because we did. Hold on, let me get that. Cause this is my first, like I've been using y'all as my guinea pigs to watch me just make new stuff. Cause I haven't made most of the stuff I cooked for y'all. I've never made before. I'm not even gonna fix my mouth to lie and say that I've made any of that stuff before. Like I think maybe one recipe that I've done before. I want to say it was the eggsadilla. That's the only thing that I've like actually cooked before cooking it with y'all. So oh, lamb lettuce tacos. So I don't know if y'all don't follow me on Facebook, then y'all ain't seen my lamb tacos. But I made some tacos with lamb meat, and it's a whole different flavor and vibe coming. Whew. And then I got my Mia's Oh So Good taco seasoning. So I'm finna okay, I'm finna put that on my lamb. All right. So get y'all lamb ready, y'all ground lamb, and we gonna cook it up with these tacos, and we're gonna talk about the different sides, and of course the little peppers and all this stuff. Like there's health benefits and so much stuff that we just really take for granted. So I can't wait to go over that with y'all and enjoy them lamb tacos. Okay, and I should probably still have some cheesecake lingering around. Oh, I'm excited. So that's all I got for y'all today. I'll post my finished cheesecake tomorrow. And you put mint in it. No, on it as a topping. And you know, and then you just chew it. You can chew it either after or during each slice, or you know, whatever. But the mint helps with digestion. So, and it tastes good. So, but that's all I got for y'all today. I'm gonna post the finished cheesecake with whatever size I decide, what toppings I decide to put on it. And if you make this, please, 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 please share any variations, what toppings you chose, what all you decided to, you know, switch up with it. And if you have any questions about it, definitely hit me up, tag me to the post, let me know. So thanks for coming in, rocking truth or nothing at all with us, and getting on that healthy, active kingdom lifestyle.